My question is, how does one know that Christianity is the one true way of living in a world that thinks that not one religion is superior than another and that we should all coexist? All religions should coexist.
And people often ask me, why Jesus and not Muhammad or Buddha or Confucius or Krishna? Here's the reason. Jesus died and rose from the dead, and guys who rise from the dead tend to have credibility. So the question then becomes, how do you know that he rose from the dead? Without making a longer answer even longer, let me suggest this. I've done numerous debates online, and we can get into this more, maybe some more questions about the historical evidence for the resurrection of Jesus. I have 4 facts that are strong facts. In other words, scholars, whether they're Christian or atheist or whatever, who study the historical Jesus, say is true about this historical Jesus. 1, that he died by crucifixion. We have to have a death before we have a resurrection. That's kind of how it works. And that's historically accurate. John Dominic Crossan says that his death by crucifixion is as sure a fact as any ever could be. Then we have the appearances to the disciples of the risen Jesus. Skeptical, non-Christian historians say that the disciples saw something that convinced them that they saw not the surviving Jesus, not the escaping Jesus, but the actual resurrected Jesus. So we see that. So we see that the appearance of the disciples. Then we see the skeptics, Paul and James. They're converted. James was a skeptic. You read this in the Gospels. Paul was an enemy of the Christian faith. I'm a trial lawyer. Now, when you have somebody on the other side who disagrees with you so very violently in that sense that they're like the worst witness you could possibly have on the other side of you, but they suddenly switch their position because they realize you're right. What do you do with that witness? You put him on the stand, and you let him talk for days and days and days to the jury. The best kind of eyewitness testimony is somebody who thought you were so wrong, who now thinks you're right, and it costs them something, too, to say it. They're not just making it up. It costs them something. That's exactly what you have in Paul. It cost Paul everything. He was an enemy of the Christian faith and switched and claimed to be the champion of the Christian faith based on his claim, I saw him with my own eyes. If he didn't, he knew he was lying. Why would you die on purpose for something you knew was purposely a lie? That gets you nowhere. So we have the crucifixion, the appearances of the disciples, the skeptics Paul and James converted, and then you have the empty tomb. We know where it was. It was a Joseph of Arimathea's tomb. We know that it was empty. And the fact that women were the first disciples is what's called an embarrassing admission. That wouldn't be necessarily included in a factual claim unless it was true. And that we knew it was where it was, and we knew that 3 days later, his tomb was empty. The resurrection of Jesus Christ is both a sword and a shield. It defends against the attacks of Christianity. But it also offers you and me the hope that we will be raised as he is raised, because he claimed and he said we would. But it's also a sword in that it says that everything that comes against it is therefore false. So if you want to contend with the Christian faith, you contend with this central fact, the fact that says all other claims that deny the resurrection can't be true. But this one is true. And it's not just true in a way that excludes you. It's a way that it's true in that it includes you. He didn't die and rise for Christians. That doesn't even make any sense. He died and rose so that we could all know Jesus, know God. That's the whole point.